And we are going to read up to and including 106. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that, and inshallah we'll finish under the 6 verses of this chapter. Okay, go ahead, please, Bond.
And if you, as a group, receive a bounty from God, he will indeed say, as though no friendship is lost between you and him. I wish I was with them, then I would be victorious, attaining a great victory. Therefore, those who fight in the cause of God are those who have forsaken this worldly life in favor of the hereafter. And whoever fights in the cause of God, then he gets killed or achieves the upper hand. We will soon grant him a great recompense. And what prevented you from fighting in the cause of God when the oppressed from among men, women, and the children say, Our Lord, take us out of this town whose inhabitants commit injustice, and appoint for us from your special place an ally, and appoint for us from your special place a helper. Those who have faith fight in the cause of God, while those who have no faith fight in the cause of idols. Therefore you shall fight the allies of Satan. Indeed, the scheming of Satan is weak. Have you observed those who were told, Hold your hands back and observe the cause of prayer and give the cleansing charity? Then once fighting was decreed for them, a group of them feared people just like they feared God, or even more. Furthermore, they said, Our Lord, why did you decree fighting for us, and why did you not delay this a little more? Say, the material of this world is little, while the hereafter is better, for the one who is righteous, and none will suffer the least injustice. Wherever you are, death will catch up with you, even if you are in strongly founded towers. And when a good thing happens to them, they say this is from God. And when a bad thing happens to them, they say this is because of you. Say everything is controlled by God. What is the matter with these folks? Do they ever understand any enlightenment? Whatever good happens to you is from God, and whatever bad happens to you is because of yourself. Moreover, we have sent you as a messenger to the people, and God suffices as a witness. Whoever obeys the messenger has indeed obeyed God, and the one who obeys, we have not sent you, and the one who disobeys, we have not sent you as their guardian. Furthermore, they claim obedience. Then once they leave your place, a group of them become doubtful regarding what they said, and God records their doubts. Therefore, leave them alone and put your trust in God. Moreover, God suffices as an advocate. Why do they not study the Quran carefully? If it were from other than God, they surely would have found in it many contradictions. And when they can't come across matters of security or fear, they let everyone know. And had they referred it to the messenger and those in charge amongst them, those who are knowledgeable would have dealt with it. Furthermore, if it were not because of God's bounty that he has bestowed upon you and his mercy, you would have surely followed Satan, except for a few. Therefore, fight in the cause of God. For you are not responsible except for your own soul, and encourage the faithful. God will then nullify the might of those who have no faith. God has the ultimate might and the ultimate know-how. Whoever mediates a good mediation, he enjoys his share. And whoever mediates a bad mediation, he will suffer its consequences. Moreover, God keeps track of all things. And when you are greeted with a greeting, you shall then respond with a better one or an equal one. Indeed, God has counted all things. God, there is no God except he. He will surely gather you all on the day of resurrection, wherein there shall be no doubt. Furthermore, whose narration is more truthful than God's? Then why should you divide yourself into two groups for the sake of the hypocrites, when God has debased them because of their deeds? Do you wish to guide those whom God has sent astray? Moreover, whomever God sends astray, he will find no way out. They want you to have no faith just like them. Then they consider you equal. Therefore, you shall not take any one of them as an ally until they emigrate in the cause of God. Thereafter, if they turn against you, you may capture them and kill them when you confront them. Furthermore, do not take any of them as an ally and a helper. Exempted are those who have joined people whom you have a treaty with them, or those who come and lack the courage to fight you, or to fight their own people. And had God willed, he could have had them mobilized against you, then they would have fought you. Therefore, if they leave you alone and do not fight you and offer you peace, then God does not allow you to confront them in any way. You will find others who want to have security alongside you, as well as their people. But once they are tested, they revert back to their original ways. Therefore, if they do not leave you alone, do not offer you peace, and do not hold their hands back, then you shall capture them and kill them when you defeat them. And these are the ones whom you are permitted to act against with clear authority. And no faithful person will kill another faithful person unless by accident. And whoever kills a faithful person accidentally shall expiate by freeing a faithful slave and by paying a demanded compensation to his family unless they forfeit it as a charity. However, if the faithful person is from a people who are your enemies, then you shall expiate by freeing a faithful slave. And if he is from a people that you have a treaty with, then he shall expiate by paying a demanded compensation to his family, as well as freeing a faithful slave. However, if he cannot find one, then he shall fast 2 consecutive months, as repentance to God, and God is all-knowing, all-wise. Furthermore, whoever kills a faithful person intentionally, then his requital is Gehenna as an eternal abode, and God's wrath will be upon him as well as his curse. And awaiting him is a tremendous suffering. O you who have attained faith, when you fight in the cause of God, you shall be absolutely sure. And do not say to the one who offers you peace, you are not a faithful person, seeking the vanities of this worldly life. Remember, there are plenty of treasures at God. So were you in the past, then God did you a favor, and you became absolutely certain. Indeed, God is cognizant of everything you do. Not equal are the believing sedentary, except those who have a disability, and those who strive in the cause of God with their money and themselves. God has elevated those who strive with their money and their lives over the sedentary in rank, and God has promised goodness for all of them. However, God has bestowed those who strive over the sedentary a great reward. Ranks from him forgiveness and mercy, and God is all forgiving, all merciful. Surely those whom the angels terminate their lives while committing injustice against their own souls, they will ask, what were you like? They respond, we were oppressed on the land. They ask, was not God's land ever expanding so that you could emigrate therein? Therefore their abode is Gehenna, and a miserable abode. Exempted are the oppressed amongst men, women, and children, who cannot afford any means and have no way out. As for these, God may pardon them. Moreover, God is pardoner, all forgiving. And whoever emigrates in the cause of God, he will find many sanctuaries and vast riches on the land. And whoever leaves his home as an emigrant for the sake of God and his messenger, then when death catches up with him, he has certainly earned his reward with God. And God is all forgiving, all merciful. And when you travel throughout the land, then there is no blame on you to shorten your contact prayer, if you fear that the unfaithful may harm you. Surely the unfaithful are your proven enemies. And when you are amongst them and you lead them in the contact prayer, then let a group of them stand up to pray with you. The rest shall keep their weapons, so when you fall prostrate, they watch your back, and the group who has not prayed shall then come to pray with you, and the others shall stand watch with their weapons. Those who have no faith would love to see you neglect your weapons and your equipment so they can defeat you once and for all. Furthermore, you commit no error if you are burdened by rain or an illness to lie down upon weapons. To lay down your weapons. However, you shall stand guard. Indeed, God promises the disbelievers a humiliating suffering. And when you finish your contact prayer, then you shall commemorate God while standing, sitting, or lying on your side. And once you are secure, you shall continue upholding the contact prayer. Surely contact prayer has been decreed upon the faithful at specific times. And you shall not show weakness in confronting other people. If you suffer any loss, then they suffer losses just like you do. Moreover, you are hopeful of God, while they have no hope. And God is all-knowing, all-wise. Surely we reveal this scripture to you truthfully, in order to judge amongst the people with what God has shown you. Furthermore, do not show hostility towards the traitors, and you shall ask forgiveness from God. Surely God is all forgiving, all merciful.
Okay, mashallah. Thank you. Thank you. Very good. Okay. Okay, we'll go back to 73. And are there any questions in the meantime? I'm scrolling up. Back to 73. Any comments, any questions?
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Fazely. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Go ahead for you.
I'm watching God as a practitioner and how He not only shows you how to handle yourself in war, but I remembered the eyes with Muhammad when he made them look, the people, the group he was fighting look smaller, less, and they looked more in the other people's eyes. And then when he took the higher route at the mountain, all these things are God sees and knows. It's just to see how he knows how to he just knows. And then he also, while he can show you how to do the war, he also shows you how to take a life or not take a life. And it's amazing how he's doing all of that in this little group from 92 down, so you can avoid not killing unless you're fighting in the cause of God. And even then, not, who you can kill or not. I just wanted to know because this sounds more too like a tooth for a tooth and an eye for an eye when it comes to choosing to take a life from someone that took a life from you, that if you pick a slave and you killed a woman, do you have to save a slave woman, or can it be a man, or is it all equal? Everything has to be that equality.
It has to be absolute equality. And the thing is that you have to also make sure that what these verses are, what I like to call them, is rules of engagement.
Okay? Yes, I agree.
How to conduct a war, a fair war. Okay?
Right.
And so, it's you cannot mercilessly kill people and uproot them and everything from their homes. And God is telling us that, you have to be very clear And if somebody offers you peace, you cannot transgress against that person, and you cannot call him that he's not a faithful person. And so, the rules of engagement are very clear in the Quran. So, God says that He has fighting has been decreed for us, and God says that you may not like it, you may dislike it, and then sometimes God says that God says that sometimes you may dislike something that could be good for you, and so there are some benefits in warfare and everything, but God is telling us that we have to be completely follow the equations that God has set up for us, and conduct the war in a fair and just manner, and do not transgress beyond the limits that God has set for us. And so that's what God is telling us. Otherwise, bad things will happen to us. Okay, I mean, God is not going to leave those people alone who are conducting war or helping people to conduct wars and stuff like that. And natural disasters happen and things of that nature.
I said, like we're seeing today.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Fazely.
Okay, you were going to say something?
No, I just said, as you were saying that, I said it's sad. It makes me sad, and it's what they're doing today. It's no.
This doesn't go away. I mean, this is the same thing. Okay, as I said, some people actually they boast about this. That we only lost so many soldiers, but we killed so many of their soldiers. You see, so it becomes a number game. Okay. This is supposed to be for the sake of God, and God is telling us here that these are people who are oppressed, and you're killing people who are oppressed. You practice oppression against a group of people, and then you go ahead and kill them, and then these people are crying for justice. Okay, and so somebody has to go help them, and it has to be a just cause, a just war. And it has to be an eye for an eye, a soul for a soul. It cannot be something which is out of proportion. It cannot be disproportionate type of warfare. Anything like that, the person who was doing that is going to suffer the consequences. Okay? The people who are doing that are going to suffer the consequences. The consequences are severe. They are not going to see a day of peace in their lives. They're always going to be afraid. Something's going to be wrong for their lives, during their lives, and they are not going to have peace and contentment. Okay? These kind of things is not going to last. Okay? Injustice is not going to last. And if people do not realize this, it's just too late.
Understood.
So anyway, all of these that we just read here tonight, these are, as again, rules of engagement, how to conduct a just combat or a war. Okay, and this is a defensive war. This is not an oppression. This is not a transgression against a group of people. Okay, and so we have to make sure that we understand that. Okay. I mean, we just had this huge 2 storms in Florida and other places, okay? Many homes were lost. Many people became homeless, okay? And so these are God's signs and God's warning that He's given us that, stop this and make sure that you are on the side of justice rather than the side of injustice. Okay, it's not going to last. These kind of things is not going to last. Any other comments or questions on these verses that we just read tonight?
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Fazely.
Walaikum salam, Anwar. Yes, go ahead, please.
I just want to make a quick comment. I mean, despite all the rules, all the international law that exists by supposedly experts, there's absolutely no comparison with the way God has laid down the rules of war and so on. It's just simply amazing. It's mind-boggling, actually. I mean, all these heads together, all these supposedly very intelligent and knowledgeable people are not even close to what God is saying. Praise be to God.
Well, I mean, again, we go back to the rules of engagement that God is decreeing for us, and throughout the Quran, all of these are defensive things, defensive wars. There is no wars of aggression. There is no war of expansion. There is no empire type of conquering and ruling and having luxury and opulence and things like that for the emperor and those people, because they want to have a vast empire. Okay, those kind of things not going to work in the sight of God, and God is telling us about it very clearly, and we recognize that because from the kingdom of Solomon, if you read that very carefully, okay, and we didn't read it very carefully, and Solomon is saying, it sounds as though Solomon is saying we are coming with forces that you cannot defend against, or you cannot understand. Okay? It sounds like Solomon is saying that, but Solomon is not saying that. It's the Queen of Sheba, who was a disbeliever at the time, was saying that we are coming to you, you see? Because it becomes clear, because she is coming to the place of Solomon. Solomon doesn't go there. You see, if Solomon was attacking them, he would go there. But she ends up here. And then Solomon says, see, had Solomon used the power that he had, obviously he could have defeated anybody. But the point is that Solomon did not use that power that he had for aggression, and had he done that, he would have been immediately fired. Okay, let's put it that way. He would have lost his prophethood, and he would have been fired. Okay, he would have been an ordinary citizen, let's put it that way, and with a lot of sins on his back. But the point is that all of these things inside the Quran, the descriptions that God has given us in the Quran, are the things that defensive wars, and in that case you can do that, like David slayed Goliath. Okay, these are the type of things that can be done and allowed because you are rising up against aggression and brute force, and God, in that case, He's going to help you, no matter what. Okay, so as I said, the defeat is going to be for those people who are inflicting the pain and agony to the other people.
Thank you so much, sir, for the enlightenment.
Thank you.
Salam, Dr. Fazely.
Walaikum salam, Miriam. Yes, go ahead, please.
The verse 98 and two verses, 98 and 99. So in the verse 99, as for these, I am assuming it's in reference to the oppressed amongst men, women, and children. And if that's the case, I'm not sure why God has to pardon them, or may pardon them.
God is telling us that these people are going to be pardoned, not those other guys who have all kinds of means and they're not helping. That's what God is saying. He says, don't compare yourself with them. See what I'm saying?
As for these, it's in reference to which group?
To both groups. Okay? So this is a group of people who have no means. Otherwise, they have an excuse. An excuse is accepted by God. It's obvious. Okay? And God is saying that the other guys have no excuse. See what I'm saying? But they are pointing to these guys. Yeah, well, these guys didn't go to war. But those guys didn't go to war because they had no means to go to war when the war was decreed. Just like the case of Saul, remember? Okay?
Yeah.
So if we have a king, we're going to go to war. Okay? So Saul, they said, okay, Saul is going to be your king. The prophet says Saul is going to be your king. God says Saul is going to be. Why Saul? He's not even rich. Okay?
Right.
So all kinds of excuses come in for them when it's decreed that you have to go and defend yourself. They don't want to do that. And so these guys, those group of people that, that they don't want to go, and they're healthy and wealthy and everything, but they don't want to do anything. And then they point to this other group will have excuse. Okay? These are the people, that as for these, God may pardon them. Moreover, God is partner all forgiving. So these are this group of people who are exempted, the oppressed amongst you, women and children, who cannot afford any means and have no way out. Okay?
So from these two verses, that means the men, women, and children who are not oppressed, they are supposed to take part in the war. Okay.
There are a lot of places they have child soldiers.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, they make children to become warriors from early age. Okay. And so these kind of things, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to take those things. You're not supposed to just send the oppressed to war. The other people cannot go to National Guard. Okay?
Right.
If there is a war, everybody has to go to war.
Right, and not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you cannot, take a picture instead of, with whatever, in front of something and that you have served. But the point is that you cannot just send the oppressed. The oppressed means people who are poor. Okay.
So technically, the army. There is no army as such. The army is the people.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a militia, basically.
Correct.
It's a militia, and this militia is formed, and everybody has to participate at some level. God says that some people they do with their money. Okay, they help financially. Okay. And so there are ways and means that people can contribute to this. They cannot just say, okay, we're exempt from all of these things. You are not exempted. People are not exempted. So point is that you cannot just send the oppressed and those people to war, and as I said, then hide their casualties and brag about their victories if they become victorious. And that's exactly what's going on. Okay?
Yeah. So, Dr. Fazely, from the verse 94, is it fair enough to say that if there is a war and a party is inviting to basically peace, if we are truly believer, we have actually to seek some sort of peace treaty with them?
Yeah. I mean, once somebody offers peace, then one has to admit that and accept the peace offering.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you. That's heavy. That's very heavy, but that's not what we see. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I mean, warfare today is horrible.
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Who was that first?
I think it might have been me, but please go ahead, Sister Shah.
It's okay. Go ahead, Sadruddin.
Go ahead, Sadruddin, please.
So, you made a comment just now about the storms in Florida, and earlier today I was reading chapter 11, and in chapter 11, verse 8, if you don't mind, I'd like to just read it.
Please go ahead, yeah.
It says, and if we delay the punishment for them by inflicting only a few communities, for sure they would say, what prevented him? Beware that their turn is up, nothing can prevent it, and the very thing they ridicule comes back to haunt them.
Yeah.
So if it's just Florida, it's not about the Floridians. It's a warning to all of us. I mean, we're so oblivious to that, it's mind-boggling. We just continue to think that you know what, that's not us, it's them. It's not them, it's us as well.
No, it is. I mean, it is. I mean, you look at the whole thing, okay? And they say that 5 million people are homeless basically in Florida, so they had to leave because of the strength of the storm, which was monstrous. And it was not just one; it was a 1-2 punch in Florida. Yeah. It was the Helene, and then this one. What was the name of this one?
Milton.
Yeah, Milton. So the two of them, 1-2 punch, and a lot of people they left their homes, and I bet you when they got back, there was no home left. Okay, basically a bunch of toothpicks. Okay, and then this guy was saying, well, where are they supposed to go? Well, I mean, look at around the world. Where are those people supposed to go that they get ordered to evacuate? You see that? I mean, so you basically, what happens is that God is leveling the field and say, look, this can be done to you too. Okay? So these are warnings to the entire communities. And so one has to be very careful with this. And as I said, at some level, people have to wake up and start connecting the dots. Otherwise, we are going to suffer just like this more and more. And, the other thing is that we have, squandered this planet's environment so badly that now these things are happening, one after another. Okay? And, they are not coming from Africa anymore. They used to come, on the west coast of Africa. That's how they formed all of these things. The entire ecosystem has been disturbed. So they are not doing that. They are actually produced in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay? And has no place to go, but basically go north and hit someplace in the United States. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Salam, Dr. Fazely.
Welcome, Salam Shakira. Go ahead, please.
Actually, I was looking at 483, and God is actually, when He sent us here, He's telling us about this. Furthermore, if it were not because of God's bounty that He has bestowed upon you and His mercy, you would have surely followed Satan, except for a few.
Yeah.
So basically, like you said today, which we must reflect upon very, very much, because every single function that's going on inside our bodies, we have no control over it, nor do we know exactly how it functions. We don't know anything of all those maneuvers that are going on, or things, chemicals, things, whatever it is, that we are existing and being, and we just don't know anything at all, and we are dependent completely without having any knowledge.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, it's a marvel of God's creation, and that's what God is telling us.
And then we are not a very fantastic creation anyway, because He says that this was really nothing. Yeah. But what it is that when we are looking at what God has done for us when we have come down here, I mean, it makes no sense to disobey Him and go and look at other things and become worldly, because He has done everything that all we have to do is choose the right thing. And I think that, at least looking at me, I try hard to do the right thing. Of course, the prayers, the salat, and the charity, all those things, that is aside. I'm just talking about just how you deal with things every day.
Mm-hmm.
And for that to be perfect, it should be easy if you keep the hereafter in mind. But it is not.
It's but you also what I was saying today about the skin that you shed. It's just amazing, and today it's they follow the DNA of people to see if somebody has it in some place or not, and it's very obvious that every time you touch something, some of your skin cells, they get stuck to that, and your DNA is there as some kind of witness, and people who God says that they cheat their own souls, and they do these things. And can you imagine that God puts all of those cells that have been witnessing, throughout this person's life? There are going to be billions of cells that are going to keep testifying on the day of judgment and talk about this guy's sins. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine the humility that person has to go through? And it is amazing. And this guy is, they say, give us a little bit more time. Send us back. We'll do better this time. Remember those verses? He said, no, you had enough time. Because we do have enough time. As I said, we know that now the entire body changes every 7 to 10 years, for crying out loud. So these are brand new stuff that God has given us, and He says, look, at least take care of this one now. This time that would be your witnesses, but this time they would not see bad things done by you. And so you are a good guy now. You are somebody who is doing good and obeying God's commandment. So they would be a positive witness on the day of judgment, rather than keep on having negative witnesses. My God, that's scary,
Yeah, it is. And also, in every verse, the fact is that there is no connection between the souls. It's the connection with the collective conscience. Your body is the one connecting to the collective conscience. Your body is the one that's going to actually stand and, against us. And it's bothering. It's bothering the body, what all wrong things that we are doing. And again and again, God is telling you, you are an individual. There is no mother, father, sister, brother, husband, nothing. They fight in the cause of God, so you are not responsible except for your own soul. So you can't change anybody, you can't do anything with anybody, or you can only take care of yourself and save your soul.
Yep.
All the time God is telling us this, and this one in 4:10, 103 is telling you about the contact prayer and how you should keep on doing it even when you're at war and everything. Just keep on doing that.
I want to mention that because 4:103 is very important, because a lot of people erroneously and mistakenly, they think that prayers have names. They do not have names, because God says here, He says, surely contact prayer has been decreed upon the faithful at specific times.
Of course.
So,
yes.
So the time is important. The time is Fajr, is the time. It's not the name.
Yeah.
And so one has to be very careful with that. And God says when the noon prays, because when it goes from the highest point in the sky, start declining, the sun. So He tells us about the high noon. That's what the time is. And so early evening, right after sunset. So anyway, but that's what God is telling us. Gives us all this information, but people just ignore it. And ignorantly they go and spread all kinds of nonsense and mislead a lot of people.
Yeah, they don't. When they go traveling, they never pray on time. They said, this is, we can gather them all together and just do it one time.
Yep.
You say it very clearly. You can't tell them. They won't listen to you. Thank you so much, Dr. Fazely.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Walaikum salam. Yes, Fadil, go ahead, please.
I just, because we couldn't see the numbers today, I mean, I really had to listen. So there's always advantages that God gives us, to teach. And I heard 55, which is the All Gracious, and I heard 19, which is when Mary mentions the All Gracious. And then you said you can turn it either way. It will still come out to be what the miracle is of it. And so 1955 or 5519, and it's like God, you see him coming and going, and there's no way out. I mean, he's got you surrounded, Yeah. So it's just wonderful to have heard that today and to remember it wherever we are, and no matter what the how the numbers God shows you and what we are learning is a protection for us.
Exactly. I mean, this is what I said today. I just brought it, but I said it was on the website, so you could have just followed them. But anyway, it's right here. So 19th semi-prime, and
right.
Either 1955 or 5519, and both of them generate the Quran basically, and that's the awesomeness of this sign that God has revealing to us. Basically every week now we have new information. But the thing about this whole thing is that it always goes back to the Quranic facts, and it always puts something which there is no argument about, like the fact that chapter 32 has 30 verses, or chapter 67 has 30 verses, or chapter 55 has 78 verses. And then amongst all of those, it keeps coming back to this 9127. That chapter 9 has 127 verses, and it's absolutely mind-boggling. And he's, but God is gently insists upon this because He abhors falsehood, and God is saying that falsehood cannot replace the truth. And falsehood is fleeting and is going to vanish, and what is going to stay and endure is the truth. And so that's what we see. And these are amazing numbers. I mean, this is the 1955 coin prime is 19,521. Can you imagine that? Then recall that 19 times 521 is equal to 90. And you know how much argument about this number of Alif Lam Mims in chapter 2? A group of people from among Rashad, they say that he counted it wrong, and they don't believe in that anymore. According to their counts, this is not the count. 98, 99 is not the count. Okay? And they are ignorantly is spreading this nonsense, and they're putting websites and these things on websites and everything, and it is a huge crime, okay, against this entire system that God has offered to us. And I just, it's beyond my mind-boggling, okay? What is the point to this? Okay? Did you verify the source that you went and counted those things? Is that source authentic? Is that source tells you that the 19th bi prime is 55 and there is nothing you can do about it? And that fact is generating that the number of verses in the Quran is 6346, the total number of verses? Does it generate that? Or you just want to grab the Quran and start counting ignorantly and illiterately? Let's put it that way. And your Arabic was not founded on knowledge of the Arabic language or anything like that, and then you try to say that that's a better result than this? Okay? I mean, this is absolutely mind-boggling. Okay? And suffering goes along with that too. This is not a joke. This is not a joke to be ignored or laughed at, or make fun of it. And this is serious business.
Assalamu alaikum, Fazely.
Alaikum salam. Yes, go ahead, Jerry, please.
I just want to piggyback real quick on what's been coming up lately. Is the value of the proofs and these cosmic signs you share with us. So I wanted to share an ayah that hit me this week. It's 2072. Ayah 2072. Just the importance and value of us to be reminded of how these proofs that you give us every Juma and just amazing. So 2072, and they said that they said we were deeply touched by the proofs that have come our way and the one who initiated us. So just wanted to, after those magicians who when Moses the snake ate up swallowed the snake, but just for them to realize, and they got threatened. He said, listen, I would alternate sides your hands and feet. And they said, listen, they had made up their mind once they saw the proof that they were touched by the proofs. So just want to remind everyone that, the proofs, once you have the proofs, like we said last week, it should force you to move in a better direction. So just another ayat here just showing that the proofs are so valuable. Alhamdulillah.
The thing is that to the layman, these things looked alike, Jerry. Okay? The magicians and the other ones, they looked alike, to the people who were not knowledgeable. See, the people who understood it, obviously, were the magicians themselves.
MashaAllah.
It's amazing. So the experts knew this. Okay? And as I said, this arrogance of these people who were around Rashad and basically destroyed the whole thing, and they are still spreading falsehood. Okay?
Right.
They don't want to admit that they are wrong. Okay? They don't want to admit that. And that's a sign of arrogance.
Absolutely.
Okay? We go through this business, as I said today. Okay, I mean, we pride ourselves into the fact that there are so many quadrillion bits of information being exchanged every day in the world and stuff like that. And can you imagine inside your body, as I said, all of these new atoms and molecules and everything that joining your body? Okay, they transmit information to the one that's leaving. Okay, it's amazing. Can you imagine that? That the knowledge which is embedded with one of them that is leaving the body is going to be transmitted to the new one. To the new one is not younger anymore. Okay, it's the same age as the other one. So you get old. See? Otherwise, think about it. Okay, otherwise you should be getting younger every day because you have new skin and everything. But new skin has that wrinkle the same as the other one. Okay? So it ages. Okay? Can you imagine the intricacy of the transfer of information from one to the other one? And God knows how many of these particles are involved in there, in just one body. And then you multiply that by the number of bodies, and then this information is also all over the world, basically. Your skin, which is shed every day, is going to be dry stuff, and they're going to be in the wind someplace, okay, and they're going to go someplace else. God knows where they are, okay? And it is amazing. And to us, I think to us as believers in a group of people like-minded people who would like to worship God alone, okay, we are in a position to understand who God is and then enjoy worshiping God, okay, because it has to be an enjoyment. It cannot be a something which is burdensome on people, okay. Some people, they just want to go through this methodology of doing things and grinding things out because they think that's how you do it. No, you have to enjoy that, okay. And so remember what Moses did? He left his people behind him and he went back to God. Okay? Say, my people were near me and I wanted to come to you. Okay? So this is how much he cared for God and how much he loved God. Okay? And that's amazing.
MashaAllah. And Dr. Fazely, one other point, as I'm dealing with these proofs, we have the proofs before electronics and proofs after electronics. So some of these proofs before, like these signs they had, like 2072, back then, and now we got the mathematics, and then, like you said, this group out here trying to recount, and they got the computer now we got AI also, so we got the proof. Some people didn't have all these mathematics prior to, so anyway, alhamdulillah, Dr. Fazely.
You bet. Thank you.